been diagnosed with suicide is not always easy. And sometimes we don't even get diagnosed with, I mean, not with suicide, with depression. And sometimes that depression can lead to suicide attempts and just the struggles of facing that day by day. Well, there's one couple that has struggled with that, but you know what? They got through it, and they wrote this incredible book called Never Alone, A Husband and Wife's Journey with Depression and Faith. I want to say good morning to Jeremy and Bailey Koch. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Wow, the book is out.
Yes.
Tell us about when this first arrived at your home, a week ago, Jeremy, is that right?
1 week ago, Bailey came over to the job site that I was working on and was carrying 2 of these shiny books, and my face just lit up, and it's hard to believe that it's an actual reality now, so we're very excited to have it out.
Wow. How about the process of, take us back to when you first decided, you know what, because I read a few of your excerpts here from the book, and take us back to when you both realized, maybe we need to share this, because that had to be a hard step to take.
I think for me it was the night that I wrote my first suicide note to my wife, Bailey. I was in a very low time in my life at that point, and just sat down on the computer and started typing out a note to her, and thought that was the final time that I'd ever speak to my wife on the computer. And
was she sleeping?
She was sleeping. Yep, okay. It was at night, in the middle of the night. She was sleeping. Typed out the note, set it up on the counter, pulled myself out of it, was able to fall asleep on the couch, and made it through the night. She came and woke me up after she found the note and was absolutely terrified, but found me still alive. And I'd fought through it that night, fought a lot of demons off that were very bad. But Genesis 50 verse 20 says, what Satan meant for evil, God will use for good to save the lives of many people. And I feel that that is what he's really done, is opened up so I can speak and help out other people struggling with mental illness.
Bailey, what was your first thought? I can only imagine.
Yeah, that was not a fun night, but, you know, because I found the note before I found Jeremy, and so, you know, I read through the whole thing thinking, he's gone. You know, we've lost him, and but thank God, God works in such amazing ways. And ended up finding Jeremy was still alive that night. And the best part, which it sounds crazy to say the best part, but the reality is that was the first time that he actually was open with his thoughts, with everything that his brain actually does to him. And he wrote it out, and the best part was that God gave him the strength to actually leave it in the note so that I could read it, so that he was no longer fighting this by himself. And that was really when everything changed for us.
How long ago was that?
That was 3 years ago, 3.5.
Did you know he was depressed?
We knew, yes, I knew that he had depression, but to the level of suicidal thoughts that were in his mind, no, I had no idea, not like that. So that was the first time that he actually, it was literally like, pardon my terminology here, but it was literally like he was vomiting up everything that he had been holding inside for years, fighting by himself. And so being able to have that there and say it out loud was when we figured out that Jeremy started to heal that night, when he started sharing, and things got better and better, and we realized that this is why Jeremy's still here. And so we feel like, you know, we after 5 suicide attempts that I found out about that night, had no idea of before, and then, you know, near-death accidents, medication failures, everything that we've been through. And now we feel like we will spend the rest of our lives thanking God that he kept us together and that he revealed our purpose so strongly.
Absolutely.
That we're supposed to help other people.
Let's go back to the accident. That was in 2012?
Correct, yeah.
Tell us what happened there first, and then we'll go from there.
Sure, in 2012, I don't remember anything of that day or 7 days after, but from reports and from Bailey, I was on the highway headed towards Lexington on Highway 30, and my pickup clipped a wide load with the combine tire, and I went out of control into another oncoming semi and hit the oncoming semi head on. I was in the hospital for 3.5 weeks, had a fractured pancreas, deflated lung, brain bleed, my leg was broken in 3 places, 4 places. It was just a near-death experience. I mean, I almost didn't make it. And we talk about that in the book, and how we fought through that and had to go through a lot of rehabilitation and things like that just to get back to normal. But I crashed really hard with my depression after the accident,
honestly,
really
and
went
my
downhill.
faith had exploded
Yeah.
during that time. That was why
Exploded meaning what's going on,
God
Why?
very much revealed himself to me during that process. It became very, very obvious that he was there with me. And he kind of had to, I think, make me hit my knees in order to understand, because we had very much been on a shame and blame, poor us. Why is this happening to us? For a long time before that. And then when Jeremy's accident hit, and it's very detailed in the book. We talk about when I hit my knees, and I'm not a person who curses, and I think that I cursed every word in the English language at God that night. And the best part is that he is such a forgiving God, and he understood that that was just what needed to happen at that point in order for me to understand that there was more, and that God was going to take this terrible thing in our lives, and he was going to change it for his good.
And there is a lot of good that came out of this, including the book. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that with Jeremy and Bailey when we come back, so stay with us. Bailey and Jeremy Koch are joining us right now. They just have their newest book out. It's called Never Alone, A Husband and Wife's Journey with Depression and Faith. And it's an amazing story what this couple has gone through. And as we're learning, there's a reason why God has you where you are. And we were talking about, Jeremy was mentioning his accident that he had back in 2012, but the depression started before that. And we had mentioned during the break that sometimes you think depression, you have hit bottom. But Bailey, you made a good comment that he didn't start healing till after this accident, which you think that's what would spiral you downward, but it didn't.
It didn't, because I think God revealed himself to us in such a big way that there was really, there was no more denying him. There was no more denying that he was there, he was with us, and there was a reason that Jeremy was still alive, because that was a horrible, horrible accident. It's really, we get very, very detailed. That's the thing with this book. There is no sugarcoating our reality. It is real. It is raw. It is exactly what we went through, and it's something that we figured that if we were going to be open, it had to begin in our home. So our children are only 8, and our youngest is going to be 6 next week, and they know everything. And the thing is they have such an innocence about it. And if we can just help society understand it is okay to talk about this, because depression is no different than any other disease or disability or anything. So why is it not okay to talk about? You know, the way our boys say it is, my daddy's brain tells him to do naughty things. You know, and they get it, and they understand it's not his fault. It's not anybody's fault who's suffering. And excuse me. People who are suffering have to be okay, have to be allowed to reach out for help to their loved ones, to mental health professionals, to people who are trained and know how to handle these situations and how to help you turn your brain around into thinking in the positive way.
So when did you know that you needed to write a book?
It actually came up as a joke. We were talking to one of my counselors, my therapist, in Kozan, and Bailey's like, well, let's just write a book about everything that we've gone through then. And so it started off as a joke, and that was before the accident and everything like that. And so we kind of started to write it, but we knew that we had to be very careful about some of the suicide attempts that I'd gone through, because of reliving those through the book, literally writing them out word for word that I went through. And so we went ahead and kind of pushed it off for a little while, and then after a couple of years, literally.
And then after, it was really a couple of years later when the accident happened, and then the suicide note is what started it back up again, because he wrote it in the book. So it sounds crazy to say to some people, but this book actually saved our lives, because it helped us to understand it's okay to be open, and now we get to save other people's lives is what the goal is.
What scares you the most about having this book published?
It took me a long time to be comfortable just to talk to my wife about it, let alone the world. And so it's very scary to know that our story's out there. But I know that if we help just one person, and we've sold over 100 books already in this last week, physical paperback books. So it's being received extremely well. And the feedback that we get, I'm an artist, so I love constructive criticism. So even if it's something bad, at least tell me about it so I can learn from it and make it better next time. But so far we've had 0 bad feedback. It's all been positive. And so the scary thought of putting our story out there, God has proving to us that it's really worth putting the story out there to help save other lives as well.
Gosh, 6, 7, 8 years ago, never would have thought you'd be here, did you?
No.
Never. I mean, it just, never crosses your mind.
It doesn't.
And here you are. And again, there's a reason for all of that. Where can we get the book?
We have our website set up at www.jeremyandbailey.com. It has everything there. You can like us on Facebook there and follow. We, at this point, because it's very new, and this is really us healing as well as helping other people, and so we don't have it available in paperback except for through us. So every book that's ordered from our website, www.jeremyandbailey.com, comes directly from us. I've turned myself into a post office in our house, so it's pretty entertaining. But it all comes through us. We sign every single book. So right now, that's the place. Otherwise, it's also available on Amazon. And the website has all that information. You can contact us there because we want to speak. We want to travel. We want to talk to kids and adults and churches and groups. And we want to do as much as we can because if we're going to be out there, we're going to be out there.
Absolutely. And like that one photo of the two of you saying, break the silence. And that's what you are doing today and what you have been doing since the writing of this. Thank you both so much.
Thank you
for being here and for sharing. And, God bless you as you go on and continue to do great work.
Thank
you so much.
And we'll be back with more Good Life in just a moment. Stay with us.